What's up guys, Perry from Rockville here, and today I'm going to show you how to set up your RDR3U. Along with the drawer itself, you also get two sets of keys, so you can lock the drawer in case you don't want anyone to get in there, and you can use the keys to open it back up. You'll know that it's locked up when you see the number above the lock is pointing towards the left, and to unlock it, you're just going to take one of your keys, place it inside, and twist it to the right. You can then take the key out, and then from here, you'll be able to open up the drawer. Now this drawer can fit into the rack unit of your studio desk, your portable rack units like this one here, or any travel case like this one here. You'll just want to be sure that your desk, bag, or case has 3U spacing inside. And when setting it up, I would actually recommend that you lock the drawer so that it doesn't fly open when you're setting it up. And again, to do that, all you're gonna do is take your key, place it inside, twist it to the left, then you'll hear that click, and then you can just take the key out, and now the door won't open. So first, let's go over how to set it up to the rack of our studio desk. So when you set it up to your desk, you'll want to make sure that you have the appropriate spacing like you see here. Now before we place the drawer inside of our studio desk, there's actually a couple of things to keep in mind. The first thing is we'll want to be sure that the rack of our studio desk has enough space for 3U items like our drawer. So if we take a look at the rack of our studio desk, you'll be able to tell what the spacing is by looking at these holes here and these blank spaces here. So to count 1U for our studio desk, we're gonna count from this starting point here, then we're gonna look for this blank space, and then the second hole here, and that will count 1U. And if we keep going by that logic, we have the next hole here, blank space, and then the second hole, that would be 2U. And then we have the next hole, blank space, and then another hole, and that would be 3U. So again, the quickest way to see if you have space is by looking at the blank spaces, and if you're able to count 3 of them between your starting and end point, so 1, 2, 3, that's 3U right there. Another thing to keep in mind is that you will need M6 cage nuts that look like this, and you're also gonna need M6 screws. You can find these at any hardware store, and you can even buy them online. You just have to look up M6 cage nuts and M6 screws. So we have to place these cage nuts inside of our rack here. As you can see, we have 3 of them set up right now. So I'm gonna show you how to do that with the last one we have here. So when looking at the cage nuts, you'll see these lips here, and this is what's gonna be used to connect to the rack. Sometimes it's a bit hard to force it in, so what you can do is take a pair of pliers and use them to squeeze in the lips of the cage nuts like that. And now if I take the cage nut and try to fit it into the space here, I'm just gonna do that by pressing it in, just like that. You'll see that it fits perfect. Another trick you can use is by inserting one lip and then using a flathead screwdriver to secure the other lip onto the other side. Now that we've got the space all prepped, we'll go ahead and insert the drawer into our rack here. Now some of the racks on studio desks like this one here are designed to have a bit of a slant, so keep that in mind when you're placing your drawer inside of the racks. So after you've chosen where you want to place the drawer and put the cage nuts inside, you're just gonna take the drawer and line it up to that spot. Then you're just gonna push it into the space in between the racks here, and you may need to shimmy it just a little bit so that the screws on the side of the drawer can go through. So you're just gonna keep pushing it in, and then you wanna line up the rack ears of your drawer to the cage nuts that we placed in earlier. So once you have the drawer all lined up to the spot on your rack that you want, you're gonna take 4 screws that will fit inside of the cage nuts here and just line each screw up to each nut. Then you can take your screwdriver and screw in each screw to lock the drawer in place. And once we have the drawer all set, we can take our key and open it up. And now we're able to open up the drawer and place anything that we want inside or take anything out. And if you ever want to take the drawer out of your rack, you're just gonna follow the steps in reverse. Now the drawer will fit into any 3U portable rack bag like this one here, which is the RRB35. And when you open up the bag, you'll see that all of the hardware is included, so you won't have to worry about fitting any cage nuts inside of the rack, because as you can see, the racks are built with these screw holes and it comes with the screws, so we can secure our drawer inside of the bag. To make fitting the drawer easier, I'm also gonna place the bag upwards. Now before we place the drawer inside of the bag, I recommend keeping the drawer locked so that it doesn't fly open as you're putting it inside of the bag. So now I can take the drawer and line it up to the bag like this. Slide the drawer through the opening of the bag like this. And now you'll see that the rack ears of the drawer line up perfectly to these screw holes here. So I can take the screws that were included with the bag and line them up to these screw holes. And once you have all of the screws lined up, you can take your screwdriver and screw them in to secure the drawer in place. And now that we're all set, we can take our key and unlock the drawer. Now we can pull it out and place anything inside or take anything out. And since it's in a portable bag, we can close it up and take the bag on the go to our next gig or event. And if you ever wanted to take the drawer out of your bag, you're just gonna follow these steps in reverse. Now the last setup I wanted to show you guys is how to set up your drawer to your travel case here. So before placing your drawer into your travel case, we have a few things to consider first. The first thing is the spacing inside of the travel case. So you just want to make sure there's enough room for a 3U unit like our drawer, and the way to count it on a travel case like this is by looking at all of these spaces here. So like I mentioned, we need 3U or 3 spaces, and the way to count them on a travel case like this one is by counting 3 of these spaces here. So 1, 2, 3, that would be 1U. Then the next 3, 1, 2, 3, that's 2U, and then the following 3, 1, 2, 3, that is 3U. And in case you don't want to place your drawer on the top like we're using here, you can just keep in mind that you need 7 spaces between your first point and your last point in order for the drawer to fit inside of your case. The next thing you'll want to keep in mind is that you need M6 cage nuts to fit inside of the first and the last point of your space, and you'll also need M6 screws so that you can actually attach the drawer into your case. So to attach the cage nut inside of this space here, you're gonna be using these lips on each side, and you're gonna want them to go into the sides of your space. In case it doesn't fit right away, you can take a pair of pliers and squeeze the 2 lips together, and this will make it easier to attach into the space. So I've just done that for my first cage nut here. So then I'm going to place it into the space, squeeze it a little, and now you'll see that it's a good fit. Another method you could use is by taking one lip of your cage nut and placing it inside of the space like that. And then you can use a flathead screwdriver to secure the second lip inside like that. You'll want to do this with 3 more cage nuts, and we went ahead and did that already for this side and then the other side. And don't forget, you'll also need M6 screws to actually secure the drawer into your case. So for the rest of this setup here, we're actually going to tip the case over to make inserting the drawer easier, and we're also going to take off the lid on the top because we won't need that for this. And before setting up the drawer to the case, we recommend locking up the drawer so that it doesn't fly open as you're setting it up. So now we're going to take our drawer and line it up to the case like so. Next, we're gonna guide the drawer through the opening of the case here, and you may need to shimmy it around a little bit so that it keeps guiding through. And then you're just gonna keep going until the rack ears of the drawer line up to the cage nuts inside of the racks. So once we have the drawer all nice and lined up inside, we're gonna take 4 screws and line them up to the screw holes of the rack here. Then we can use a screwdriver to fully secure the drawer inside of the case. So after that, we can prop our case back up, and now we're able to take our key, open up the drawer, pull the drawer out, and now we can go ahead and fit our items inside. And if you ever wanted to take the drawer out of your case, you're just gonna follow the steps in reverse. So hopefully this showed you guys how easy it is to set up your RDR3U. But of course, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to reach out to our customer support team through phone or email. As always, I'm Perry from Rockville, and we'll see you guys next time.